Today on Designed by Wingnut Social, interior design superstar Jasmine Crockett tells us how she got 214,000 followers and more on Instagram. Stay tuned. Hey kids, and welcome to Designed by Wingnut Social. I'm your host, Darla Jethro Powell, and today I am joined by Jasmine Crockett of Joy Meets Home. And Jasmine is a superstar in the interior design space and the lifestyle space, and I am really, really excited for you to hear my conversation with Jasmine today. And if you're not a fan, if you don't know of her, which is doubtful, if you're listening to the show, you're into interior design in some way, you're going to want to head on over to Jasmine Crockett on Instagram and follow her because she's so sweet and she's amazing and she's inspirational, for real. What she's managed to accomplish in 10 short years is truly phenomenal. So stay tuned for that. But before I get into my conversation with Jasmine, I want to tell you guys that Instagram for Interior Designers, our online course to help you attract your ideal client from Instagram and make money, honey, is actually on sale for Halloween. That's right. We are having a special Halloween sale on that course. So if you've been sitting around saying, should I do it? If you're one of those people that has been sitting there waiting for the right moment, well, I'm going to scare you. Get it? See what I did there? Into this is the right moment. If you just use code Halloweeny, Halloweeny on that shopping cart there at wingnutsocial.com. That's HALLOWEENIE. You'll get 25% off of that course. And how do you do that? You go to wingnutsocial.com, check out Wingnut Academy, and pick Instagram for interior designers. When you get to the checkout there, enter code Halloweeny and laugh and giggle like a 13-year-old boy like I do. All right, guys, that is it for shameless plugs for our course. Oh, you should check out the reviews for that too, because people are making money from that course already. Before I get into my conversation with Jasmine Crockett, you know the drill. Jasmine Crockett is an Atlanta-based interior designer, content creator, and founder of Joy Meets Home. After years of running a successful lifestyle blog and building a large social media following, she pivoted to interior design content, which eventually led to her taking on her own clients. She launched Joy Meets Home to serve as a go-to interior design resource, offering an effortless way to shop and design your space from inspiration to consultation to full-scale projects. Wingnuts, help me in welcoming Jasmine Crockett to the show. Hey there, Jasmine Crockett. Welcome to the show. How the hell are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing super, super swell. I'm so happy to have you on the show. Let me tell you something. You are a heavy hitter when it comes to your social media, and I'm really excited to dig in and see how the hell you did it. Are you ready for that?
I'm so excited to talk about everything today.
I know. I am so excited to talk about it with you. So before we get in, I did tell the audience a little bit about you, but just tell us. I know that you started out with your main account, which is Jasmine Crockett, which is eponymous, right? That's your name, of course, Jasmine Crockett. And you have, listen to this, guys, you have 214,000 followers on just Instagram alone on just that account. And I know how you started because I researched you because that's my job, but tell the audience a little bit about how Jasmine Crockett account started, and then we'll dig into your success here on social media.
Yeah, so I started my account back in about 2013. That's when I started blogging. And I was actually a fashion blog at first, and it was called Heels and Mimosas. I have no idea why.
That's cute, though.
Yeah, it was so cute. And honestly, I had never even had a mimosa. So why I wanted to call it Heels and Mimosas, that's just where I landed, and started blogging. I was living in Texas at the time, and I was just using the platform to share back with my family. I'm from Alabama, so it was really just a journal for them to see kind of like how I was doing in Texas, and I shared like outfits and things. And at that time, People Style Watch was a really major magazine, and they picked up on an outfit that I was wearing, shared it in their print publication, and they shared my Instagram handle. So that kind of just skyrocketed from there on how my following started to grow, and people just all over started to follow me. And I think at that very moment, I realized that, hey, this is like something that I can do, and I love doing it.
Mhm.
But I started to transition into like a more of a lifestyle brand. I got married, we had a baby, we moved to Georgia, which is where I am now to get closer to family, and started to share more about like home and being a first time mom and just the lifestyle in general, and just continuously growing up. Following from that, people just really loving the organic content, not feeling that everything had to be so, elevated. So just so
Sure.
lux, just seeing an everyday person doing things that they love to do. So that's just how I got to point to where I am today.
All right. And if you're watching our YouTube channel designed by Wingnut Social, you'll see that Jasmine has quite the collection of shoes behind her right now. So I'm not surprised that you started off doing a fashion channel
Mhm.
for that. Okay. So when they shared your outfit immediately on that, was that just something that happened organically? Did you tag them in a post or was that intentional to try to get that
No,
reach?
it
Okay.
was organic. I honestly had no idea about like I don't even think you could tag brands at that point on Instagram in 2013. I feel like I don't remember. I don't think you could tag
I don't
people.
either.
Yeah, but it was just organic, and I honestly still to this day have no idea how they found me, but I'm thankful. But it was a really exciting opportunity because it was a photo that my husband and we had this little camera. We had no idea how to use it. We snapped this photo in front of like our apartment, and I actually did not like the photo how it came out. I was like, this doesn't really look that well. And then they reached out to feature it in the magazine, and I'm like, well, I guess it was a nice photo.
We're our own worst critics, aren't we?
We are.
Okay, so that's the Jasmine Crockett account, right? 214,000 followers. And when I hear your story, I think of accounts like Amber Lewis, Shay McGee, who started
Mhm,
out with a personal account, made it a lifestyle account,
mhm,
started revolving around, like you, similar, they married, children, home, family, lifestyle, design. So let's talk a little bit about the transition from the doing the fashion
mhm,
side of that and transitioning over to the design piece. How did
yeah,
that happen? Because I mean, they're kind of related fields, but it is
mhm,
totally different.
mhm. Yeah, correct. So that really, again, just organically happened. And it was something I was already sharing little bits here and there. When we had our apartment, I would share just small things like obviously decorating on a budget, doing
Mhm.
just rental friendly kind of ideas. And then from there, when we moved to Atlanta, we got our first home. And that's kind of when I really kicked it into, I guess you can say, high gear. I started sharing like my son's room. We did a huge makeover, and with that makeover, I was able to partner with Party Barn Kids. So that was pretty awesome.
Oh,
Yeah. So just sharing just organic things like decorated my kitchen for fall the different seasons. I decorated like my primary bedroom, and that kind of content at the time just really took off. People, I think now it's super heavy on social media. People are doing like DIYs and home decor now,
yeah.
but I think around that time, this is before COVID, so home was still a pretty new like category to kind of dive in, and it really just organically took off from there, just sharing my own home and my own projects that I was working on.
Do you know that hashtag interior design is the number one used hashtag on Instagram?
I can
Just,
believe it.
just an aside.
I can believe it.
Right, right. Okay, so you discovered that you had a natural talent for decor, design, and decorating, and were you finding that this kind of organically grew into larger projects, people reaching out to you
Mhm.
to help them with theirs? Walk us through that.
Yeah, so just backtracking,
Hmm.
my dad is a general contractor. He does custom home builds in
Perfect.
Alabama. So
Hmm.
that's just one thing that I kind of like grew up around. So when it came to certain projects or different things I was working on, I would always kind of like bring him in on, hey, I'm working on this. Can you help me with that? So I think from there, being able to work with him on a few projects and just share like small behind the scenes clips on when I was in Alabama, helping him here and there on very small things, sharing it on my stories, people, took interest. But at that point, it wasn't like, oh, she's doing projects. She's just like
Hmm.
visiting home. She's helping her dad. And then she shares her home as well. But it
Right.
wasn't until I think basically right when COVID happened, obviously we're all at home. And that's when people really start to think about, you're looking around and you're like, what's happening? Like, what is this? And I was still sharing my home content, and I had a friend. She reached out, and they had just bought this home, and they wanted to do a full renovation on the entire home, top to
Oh,
bottom.
wow.
And I'm like, "You're reaching out like to me? I've never done that before." and and that from that point on, I was just like, you know what, I can do this. Like, I grew up around it. I know the ins and outs. Like, I know the ins and outs of construction, like all of the things that I need to know about design. And I just, stopped psyching myself out. Like I always feel like you overthink things. So I was like, why
Yeah.
not? This is really the perfect project to have because it's a friend. Just like with family projects, I tell people all the time, if you're trying to start, find a family or a friend that you can work with to build that portfolio. So I took this friend's project and it came out amazing.
That's good. They're still
Yeah,
friends, I guess.
it came out amazing. It was a really awesome project, and what I did, I started to I documented everything that I could via my stories, via photos, and shared that on my social channels. And that was just my really big dive into, hey guys, I'm now accepting clients. I'm doing interior design. If you want to work with me, here's the information. And that kind of just opened basically a gate of like inquiries because she
Wow.
told people and then I had more people reaching out as well. And it just organically just kind of happened.
That is so great. I love to hear that how that happens because there's still in the world in existence interior designers or interior decorators who
Mhm,
don't feel that social media gets them business or is impactful
mhm,
for business.
mhm,
So if you had to give your social channels on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the
mhm.
worst, as far as building your reach and awareness and getting your brand and getting clients, where would you
Mhm.
put that?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a 10. I
Okay,
think
yeah.
it's something that you need every
hmm
day, whether you're sharing, small thing, like you need it for
hmm
sure to build your brand.
Yeah, you have to have it anymore, even if you just do it yourself, right?
Mhm,
And okay, so talk to me about the journey. So you have Jasmine Crockett with 214,000 followers, and a lot
mhm,
of designers, lifestyle brands, influencers will just morph that account to include the
mhm,
design, include that into in that one account. But you decided to diversify, and
mhm,
you transitioned the home piece. I'm assuming, if I'm wrong, correct
mhm,
me, over into another Instagram account with an incredibly healthy following as well. You have
mhm,
29,000 followers there. Joy
mhm,
Meets Home.
mhm.
So talk to me about that thinking.
Yeah, so right away when I knew that I was going into this, again, it kind of happened fast and organically, but I knew right away that I didn't want it to be my name. I did
Mm,
a ton of research around, obviously a lot of designers, that's their thing, like it's named after them. But I thought
sure.
about just the longevity and like what I really wanted the brand to be. I didn't want it
hmm
to just be a standard interior design company. My background, I'm a content creator, so I'm always trying to think outside of the box. What can I do differently than what your standard interior designer firm is doing? And I wanted to create a name that was catchy, a
It
name
is.
that if you went into Target, and I had a collaboration, you would see it. So things like that is kind of where I was thinking when it came to naming the brand. And I wanted it to always be about whether I grow a team or it's just me. You never know, like, how that can kind of take off. And I didn't want it to just be all about me. I wanted it to be about the brand. So I wanted to have a really big
hmm
separation of the two.
I'm just curious as to your thinking. Why did you decide? Because you changed it from the fashion, from the mimosas and heels, right?
Heels
Or heels and
and
mimosas to Jasmine Crockett. You
hmm
didn't want, you just wanted to leave the Jasmine Crockett and not morph that into Joy Meets Home and start a new account there
hmm
to keep Jasmine Crockett. I'm just curious as to why you did that.
Yeah, so I'm a content creator and that's my first platform and I
Mhm.
go, by my name for everything. So I wanted to keep the platform that I've built personally for myself because I changed my name years ago. So I
Okay.
didn't want to like confuse people that I'm changing my name now to a brand name. And it also was a test for me. Like if I'm building a brand, will my following, go to this new brand? And that's
Sure.
because, sometimes you can easily change your name, but the people who are following you may not be following you for that particular thing. So I wanted to create a different page. And if you're interested in home and you're interested in interior design, this is for you. But if not, if you're just
Okay.
here for me and my family, then this is this page.
So thank you for going under the hot lights there. And the reason I asked you is because when
Mhm,
we get clients that come to us at Wingnut Social, this is kind of a personal choice.
mhm,
In a lot of ways, they're like, oh, I'm expanding, I'm going into a different thing, or
mhm,
I'm becoming more of a lifestyle brand or interior design brand. Should I get another account?
mhm,
And the answer is it depends, right?
mhm.
So in your
Yeah.
case, it depends, and you answer that beautifully. So I do appreciate that insight there. So tell us a little bit about Joy Meets Home and what that's about, and what you're doing there that you're not doing necessarily on your Jasmine Crockett page. And I have a follow-up question for that because the
Mhm,
Joy Meets Home, I'll ask you after you answer this, so I don't monologue. But if I can remember, okay, go.
Yeah, so Joy Meets Home, it's an interior design lifestyle brand. And again, when I mentioned how I wanted the brand to just be different than your typical interior design firm,
Hmm.
I want it to be like, I'm a content creator. So how can I make this like a one-stop shop for people where they're coming? They may not be interested in interior design, but we also offer home goods. And then we also have our blog, which is called Making Home. And you can get, content about DIY or just a variety of things involving home. So I want it to be just that one-stop shop where you're going. And if
Hmm.
you're interested in anything related to home, whether it be design, shopping for home, or needing content inspo, this is the place to go. And that's just kind of how I, took that brand and wanted to build it.
And I don't want to assume, but you naming it Joy Meets Home is brilliant. Should you
Mhm.
ever, and I'm not saying you're going to, but if you're a designer out there and you're thinking, do I name it Susan McNuggets Interiors or something similar? If you ever want to sell the business one
Mhm.
day, it's less connected to you having to be in it. All
Exactly.
right. So I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I'm saying that's a pretty smart move for
Mhm.
future proofing
Yeah,
it there. So again, like I said, the best answer is it depends.
it definitely depends.
All right. So Jasmine Crockett, as we're sitting here, you have 28,000 followers on Instagram at Joy Meets Home. What was it? 214 on your personal. You have a new brand coming out, or new that we're
Mhm.
going to talk about as well. It's called Get Simply. That's a
Mhm.
newer account that only has 36 followers.
Mhm.
But you also have like 12,000 on TikTok. TikTok.
Mhm. Yeah,
Designers hate TikTok. They don't think they need to be
they
on there. It
do.
doesn't get them any clients. Is your TikTok channel getting you business?
Yes, it's consistently getting me business, and the thing is, it depends. It depends. Sometimes the inquiries can be not a good fit, but it's
Mhm.
still, getting your brand out there. And I
Sure.
actually just talked about this at High Point. I was on a panel there, and one of the questions people asked, should I be on TikTok? And I think it also depends on the person and the
Mhm.
brand. If you know that you're wanting to be just very serious and you're not really wanting to let people in on who you are behind the brand and behind what you're building, then TikTok is probably not the place for you. But as we know, TikTok is very relaxed. It's not Instagram where they want to see the pretty photos
Mhm.
and videos. And I think with TikTok, you have to kind of get, from behind your pretty fit pictures and really
Mhm.
show people who you are building that brand, whether that be, more into your life or BTS behind a project or anything like that. People want to know what's going on. So I think depending on, kind of where you want to take your brand, TikTok can really be a very valuable asset to it.
Yeah, and guys, Jasmine is front and center on her TikTok. So you're not shy to be on camera to do videos. And I think that's
No,
really
which is
important
funny
because a
because I
lot
used to be.
Did you really? Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
tell me about that a little bit because I'm telling you the audience is out there going nope, 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 nope. How did you get from being scared to be on video and to
Mhm.
getting, I mean, obviously comfortable? You're everywhere.
I think for me, it became to the point that it's just me and this camera. Like, and where it goes from there, it's going to get in front of however many sets of eyes, but I always look at the bigger picture. I'm trying to build a brand and I can't do that if I'm hiding. So that was just one of the things I had, self-talk, self-aware, just knowing that you can do this. Like, it's just you and the camera, just do it.
So I was reading an interview that you did for Business of Home recently, and I want to
Hmm.
read to you something that you said along
Hmm.
those lines. And you said a lot of designers ask me about getting into brand partnerships, and some designers use social media to post their portfolio, basically, but they're not truly showing who they are.
Hmm.
Brands want to build a relationship with a person, not a company. So they want to know, who is Jasmine? She does have this business, but what else is there to know about her?
Hmm.
That is so on point, right? It is
Hmm.
so accurate. And again, we get a lot of pushback, a lot of resistance from interior designers who just think or just want to publish their work. The work is going to speak for itself, and that's the
Hmm.
end of that.
Hmm.
So, when you were doing that, you said you used to be a kind of nervous about being on camera, putting
Hmm.
yourself out up front.
Hmm.
What is the difference between when you were a little shy about doing that to now not being shy and being everywhere and
Hmm.
being out and being authentic and showing your personality in the bottom line in the business piece?
I think the biggest thing is I look at the growth, the opportunities that it has brought, since I started doing that. When I was a little shy and not really wanting to, speak on camera or even remotely get in front of video and show anything, I saw the results from that, and it wasn't good. It wasn't where I was trying to go. So the biggest piece is just seeing the growth that I've gotten today. Like you mentioned, like TikTok is a very hard platform to grow on, and
Yeah.
the growth that I'm seeing is consistently every day. So I think that's one big thing is I see the consistency that it's doing. So I just keep going.
Are clients or potential customers for your store coming to you from TikTok from sliding into the DMs? Are you leading them to the website? How is that working? What does the funnel look like?
Yeah, so usually they go straight to the website. I'll have a few people who will comment, how can I work with you? And then I just let them know to look at the link in the bio and they go straight to the website.
All right, awesome.
hmm
Jasmine, what are some tips that you have for those interior designers who are out there listening saying, well, this sounds really all well and good, but that's Jasmine. This isn't going to work for me. Or someone who has no social media skills. What are some
hmm
of the basics that you would tell them that helped you?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things is creating some kind of content plan, figuring out what categories you kind of want to chat about, and that kind of helps you know your direction of content, because if you just pick up the phone and you're like, okay, I'm going to make a video today, you're going to sit there for like an hour trying to figure out, okay, now what kind of video do I need to make? So I think having that plan first helps you kind of ease the nerves. Okay, I know today we're going on site and I'm going to film and talk about, this kitchen we're renovating, or I know I want to share, I love fashion and I love, I work outfits. I'll share my outfit of what I'm wearing today to the office. Just thinking about what kind of content you want to share and how you want to be portrayed by your audience. Do you want to really connect to them more? So having that content plan helps you break down exactly this is what you're going to post. And then also just being calm and just casual is you in the phone. If you have an assistant or a team member who works with you, kind of bring them in, rope them in on helping you build that content, because I think
Rope them in.
yeah, when you have that other person who is also, building with you, it kind of eases the nerves because they're behind the phone. So I think it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable, because if you're not comfortable with just you and the phone, you're like, this is awkward. I'm talking to myself. So having someone else or a partner, like a spouse, your husband or wife or whoever, if you have someone else comfortable that you're comfortable with on the other side of that phone, I think it also eases the nerves and you feel a little bit, ready to do it.
I got a really good piece of advice, and I think it was from Luann Nagar's podcast, and I can't remember the guest, but it was when you're talking to the camera, pretend like
hmm
you're talking to like your best friend or your ideal
hmm
avatar who fits that best friend. It's just
hmm
you and that one person having a conversation. That helped some.
Yeah.
But I still get nervous. I still get nervous and wring my hands. It's not
hmm
something that, you might be out there and you might say, you might get better, you might get more comfortable, but you might never be nerve free, but you still got to do it. You can't have
Yeah,
paralysis by analysis.
exactly.
All right. So I want to ask you something else that you mentioned in the business of home about when it comes to getting brand partnerships, and
hmm
something that else you said in that article is some designers don't want to share their sources with followers, but when they share some things, they may realize that content could get the brand to notice or reach out to them. And I have to
hmm
tell you, as a marketing agency, Wingnut Social, tagging brands, sharing
hmm
sources have gotten our clients' designs to go viral in some cases. It's been
hmm
really important, but there's a lot of pullback. And I remember I did a mini news about this, I want to say 6 months ago or so, and I forgot to say
hmm
that if you're doing that, make sure that you have the license for the photo, for them to share, et cetera. I had a lot
hmm
of photographers come
Right.
out with pitchforks and torches. So that's important to remember. But
hmm
what would you say to those designers who are like, I'm never sharing my sources, I'm never
hmm
tagging a vendor, forget it.
hmm
I'm above that.
I think, and that this is something else we talked about. I think it depends on what you're trying to build. If you have certain vendors, you're like, these are, I'm
Hmm.
not sharing. These are my like they're mine. But if you know that your goal is to build a partnership with this specific brand, how will they know that you're always using them? And you're like, we use this brand for everything. They don't know
Hmm.
that unless you tag them.
Yeah.
Um, and I think people, especially designers, overthink those kind of things, because the clients that you have are still going to come to you regardless, because they're coming to you because they don't know how or don't want to do the project. So I think
Yes.
when you overthink the thing about, I don't want to tag the brand because I don't want someone to like try to steal or just do it on their own and not reach out to me. Because at the end of the day, especially like even on the content creation side, like you see influencers tagging things all the time. And I
Mhm.
think in designers should look at it in that way, because the more they tag, that's how they're building the brand partnerships. That's how they're getting the affiliate linking income. And because they're exposing themselves and showing these brands that, hey, I'm using this, and brands see that. And the work that it takes to source, which designers know it takes a long time to like find things, the people who follow you or the people who want to work with you are not going to put that exact same time to find that brand, to find those specific products. So I think when they stop overthinking it and just, tag, and not saying you have to tag every photo with every brand, but a couple
Right.
here and there, or even in your stories, like if you're showing like a video or something, like mention the brand there. And in stories now you can like hide the mention. So if you're tagging in stories and you really don't want anyone to see, just hide the mention, but the
Yeah.
brand will see it in their account that you tagged them, and they'll
Yeah.
see the video. So I think
Mhm.
there's definitely a lot of workarounds around it, but at the end of the day, you just have to release that control and, share.
That's pretty clever, Jasmine.
Yeah.
And when you're saying hide it, you can shrink down the
Yeah, make
tag
it
to where it's
really
like
tiny and you can like slide it down and no one
it's
knows
like
it's there.
quantum mania.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see it at all.
You're right.
That's awesome. Okay, so last but not least, tell me about Get Simply. What is that? Now this is the new one. There are 36 followers on Instagram, right? So we haven't really dug into this one yet, but this is a new thing for Jasmine Crockett. So you must be pretty excited. What is it?
I'm very excited. It's definitely a new lane. I'm entering into this tech startup space, and basically, simply, it's going to be an on-demand interior design concierge app. So this is for a lot of people who, interior design is a luxury service at the end of the day,
Yep.
and everyone cannot afford to, get their entire home renovated and get the HGTV renos. So I feel like with Simply, this gives you the opportunity to chat with an interior designer right from your phone for those small questions that you probably have that you don't want to pay a $500 consultation fee for. So whether
Yeah.
that be, I'm painting my kitchen, what color can I paint these cabinets? Do you have any recommendations? Or, hey, I'm looking for a new rug. Can you send me some recommendations for that as well? So with Simply, you basically will be able to log in, you'll chat with the designer, they can send you those product recommendations. You can check out in the app, and right now it will be Joe Meets Home products for starting off, and obviously building brand partnerships to be able to have certain different brands within there as well. So, but we'll be able to link to any brands for product recommendations on there, and then we'll have a separate showroom subscription piece. We'll be able to, if you sign up for that, you'll be able to shop some trade vendors that we work with also.
Nice. You're a smart businesswoman. My goodness, look at you. You are really
Thank you.
future proofing. The whole
Yes.
Jasmine, this has been a really, really interesting conversation. Is there anything that I've forgotten to ask you around this marketing your business on social media that you think the audience needs to hear before we get into the fire round?
I think the biggest thing is to not overthink it. I think every day, I do this as well. We kind of overthink certain things when you just need to just go with it. And remember, at the end of the day, you're you and no one else can be you. So regardless of whatever you decide to post or don't post or whatever you're trying to build, I feel like everyone should just go for it, and you just never know what'll happen.
Yeah, done is better than perfect too, people. Just
Exactly.
get it done. Yeah,
Just
don't be
do it.
afraid. Don't get it. Yeah. I have friends that have been putting off for years starting something. And if they had started it 2
Mhm.
years ago, would it have been crappy in the beginning? Probably. I was crappy in the beginning. Some people might say I'm crappy now, but you have to start somewhere to get to that point. All right, Jasmine Crockett. Now I have to ask you, are you ready for the What Up
I'm
Wingnut
ready.
round? What would the hashtag on your tombstone be?
Hashtag make it happen.
And you have. That's pretty accurate. You're stuck on a deserted island, but you can have your one favorite food. What is it?
Lasagna.
Ah, nice choice. I love it. Protein, carbs. Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
all in one.
Last but not least, please recommend a book that has impacted you either personally or professionally.
Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Oh, that's a good one. I like
Mhm.
that. Where you
Yeah.
start like little tiny habits just to
Yes,
change
and I
that
feel like that's
right?
something we've
Yeah,
been talking about, just building up to those big things, just doing it. So,
yeah.
mhm.
I love it. Jasmine Crockett, thank you so much for joining us. Please tell the Wingnuts listening where they can go to find out more about you and all of your amazing accounts and brands, and so we can keep an eye on you. I'm excited to see what Get Simply does, and
I know,
where
I'm
can
so
we find you?
excited. You can just go to my Instagram at Jasmine S. Crockett, and you can go to joymeetshome.com or jasminescrockett.com, and that lists everything that I'm currently working on. And if you want to join our wait list for Simply as well, you can go to getsimply.com, and that will be launching soon. Right now, we're doing a ton of beta testing with users, so I'm excited about that.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Jasmine. It's really been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
All right, kids, what did you think of my interview with Jasmine Crockett? I mean, I love having guests like Jasmine on the show because it's really straight from the horse's mouth from someone who successfully has implemented some of the things that I've been telling you. My team has been telling you guys for almost 5 years now on the show in order to reach success on social media. I've just guest after guest after guest, just saying or revealing the impact that being present, being authentic, being consistent, having a strategic plan on social media, what that has done for their business. And of course, Instagram for our industry is usually the number one, right? But here you have Jasmine saying TikTok. She's getting tons of people to her website from TikTok, but it's not easy, right? TikTok is not the low-hanging fruit. TikTok is right now, I would have to say, the hardest channel to create content for by far. But if you do go to those extents, those links to create something on TikTok that is getting traction, that gets visits to your website, you can repurpose that video creation to Reels or vice versa, YouTube Shorts or vice versa. So you can get some mileage out of it. So there's some room to work that elbow grease, but it does take a lot of planning, a lot of content creation, really cool ideas, some decent video editing and photography. And like Jasmine said, it doesn't have to be like Architectural Digest cinematography, right? On there, you can be raw and revealing and authentic, but still there's a little bit of a learning curve there. But I think, Jasmine, I have to say, I think you're the first interior design account, home-based account that we've had on that has had that much success right now with TikTok. When TikTok first came out, my advice was to go plant your flag, get an account. I do see it growing. I do see it being important to get leads and to get business for your firms, for your design firm. Maybe it wasn't 2 years ago, but now I'm seeing this trickle in, and you're the beginning of a really successful story there on TikTok. And I know there's more. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, designed by Wingnut Social, head on over there because there's lots of visual aids and graphs and interpretive dance that happens over there that you don't want to miss, that only YouTube can provide. And remember to head on over to wingnutsocial.com, check out Instagram for interior designers, and if you want 25% off of that bad boy, use code Halloweenie, HALLOWEENIE, and get that 25%. It's a no-brainer, guys. You sign one client, you've paid for that course 10 times over, probably. The average interior design fees. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Really is a no-brainer. Take some elbow grease. It's going to take some work, but it's well worth it. All right, guys. Until next time, remember to get out there, get uncomfortable, and be great. But I do know from experience, sorry, hold on.
You're good.
I'm sorry, my producer's probably like, when the hell is she going to get over this? Some designers don't want to share their sources with followers, but when they do share some things, you might, as one more time. Today on Designed by Wingnut Social, interior design superstar Jasmine Crockett joins us to tell us how that was an almost. Today on Designed by Wingnut Social, superstar... Hey kids, and welcome to Designed by Wingnut Social. I'm your host, interior decorator, and grand high poobah of all things at Wingnut Social, Darla Powell. And I like to fart in my off time and play poker, and sometimes at the same time.